Welcome back to American Rifleman Television. You know, the air gun carried by Meriwether Lewis was a secret weapon back in its day. It could fire 22 shots a minute, and it was pretty quiet. Anyhow, let's check back in with Phil Schreier and look into the air gun of Lewis and Clark.
After we cast the bullets up, lo and behold, the gun held 22 rounds. 1 in the chamber, 21 in the tube. Now, this had never been published before, and one of Dr. Beeman's objections to it being a girandoni was that he said it was 22 shot, and it was impossible to have been any type of repeating air rifle. Well, Ernie and I were both convinced it was the right gun to build.
After 7 months of building the gun, we were able to get to certain pieces like the mainspring, and we found that the mainspring had been replaced, as was described in the journals. This led to more investigating into the things that had happened to the rifle during the journey and the actual damage that had been done to the original gun. So from that period on, we were pretty much sure that we were actually copying Lewis's air gun.
In 1847, it was sold at a public sale, and it was actually sold, and it disappeared into history until it showed up again in our shop. We're happy to have found the gun. It's because we take an interest in unusual military weapons and how they perform that this gun was found.
Now, Ernie, you tell me that this piece of folded steel is what eventually turns into the air reservoir.
That's correct.
How is that done?
Well, that particular piece is rolled cold. The original ones, of course, were iron, or what we call wrought iron. We, of course, are using modern steel.
Now, to seal it, I understand that this is like riveted, right?
This one started right. It has 11 rivets all the way along the surface.
Now, I know that when I go to the gas station and fill the tires on the car, it says 35 psi, pounds per square inch. When you fill this air reservoir, you know, this is the completed specimen here. This is a bicycle pump, basically, right? Pretty close to what a modern bicycle pump would look like.
That's correct. Only this particular pump was invented 200 years before
200 years. And this will pump up to 800 psi?
Right. The pump is designed to pump precisely 800 pounds so that you can't overcharge the gun.
That's absolutely amazing. That's something that just folded and riveted is so airtight and sealed that it'll hold that much pressure. I mean, that's more than a fire extinguisher or some of the other diving tanks, right?
Absolutely. This is extremely high pressure even today. What we have to keep in mind is that they didn't know what we call pounds per square inch, or PSI. They worked in atmospheres.
Right. Okay, starting from scratch, I'd pump this, what, 1,500 times?
1,500 strokes.
All right, Ernie. I know that working on this, you've decided to go the traditional route and making all this by hand. But I got to tell you, 1,500 strokes to demonstrate. Rick, do you have a secret modern shortcut we might take?
It's called scuba tank.
It's called a scuba. I was hoping that something might speed the process. And how long does that take to fill the tank?
Probably 2.5 seconds.
2.5 seconds. Yeah. That's great.
The knowledge to be able to develop just the right amount of pressure. The pump was a fail-safe system even 200 years ago. It was designed specifically to pump 800 pounds. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to load the reservoir.
Now this is
the magazine.
An 18th century speed loader.
Right.
It already holds 22 or 21 balls, right?
That's how fast it takes to put 20 rounds.
20 rounds. And that just clips shut. That's it. That's not unlike loading the tube underneath a Henry rifle in 1860.
Right. Now all you do is push the bolt over, it's loaded, cock it, ready to shoot.
It's ready to go.
People wonder whether the girandoni was an effective weapon. Well, the Austrians said it would penetrate 1 inch of pine board at 100 yards, which is considered lethal with any weapon. From our experiences with 800 psi, at about 535 feet per second, this gun will kill you out to 100 yards. Well, now you can believe what damage this could do to a human being.
That's right, absolutely.
At 50 or 60 yards, you can hit a man in the head easily.
We think that one of the greatest aspects of the air rifle, and they only had this one, was that Lewis literally used it as a parlor trick with the Indians.
Considering you had 1,500 of these guns, at 22 shots, plus they carried 2 extra reservoirs and an extra 80 rounds of ammunition and speed loaders, a rifleman of that time would have been totally self-sufficient and very deadly.
He was able to impress them, that they were able to lay down a great deal of devastation in a very short period of time with a very few individuals. Therefore, the Indians never once tried to overtake this band of explorers and relieve them of their firearms. Had they done so, any group of Indians would have come into the best supply of rifles and muskets and cannon, gunpowder and shot that would have been available on the frontier for the next 50 to 60 years.
And